My name is Rebeka Acosta. I am married to Aaron, and we have two children. They are now teenagers, 14 and 15 years old. We created our family through adoption, and so they came to us at 2 and 4 years old with complex medical conditions. So we not only battled the conditions, but also the delay in their care. Both of our children were born with congenital defects. One of our kiddo has an airway defect and a minor cardiac defect, and then our other son was born with pretty complex heart defects. So they need multidisciplinary care from several different specialists all at the same time. We've had to travel out of state for surgeries to go to the children's hospital that specializes in their condition and that just has access to specialists under one roof.
How long has your family lived in Nevada?
We moved to Nevada in 2017, so coming up on 7 years this summer. I love the warm evenings and eating dinner outside and just lots of nature time. We like to go on spring break trips now that the kids are in high school, school breaks are when we're allowed to go on vacation. And last spring break, we actually did a driving tour around the Southwest. When we travel for medical reasons, now that the kids are older, we are not all going, all four of us together. When they were younger, obviously, it's really difficult to make a cross-country trip to a children's hospital and pawn off the 5-year-old on someone. So we would all go together. For my older kids' surgery, we were in Massachusetts for like 4 weeks, and there was 2 other trips back and forth for pre-op testing and some diagnostic things, and that was a really hard couple of months. I was a stay-at-home mom full-time then because my kids needed the care. So we were a single-income family trying to budget flights, lodging when we were there, food, making sure we were taking care of responsibilities back home. My husband was in the hospital with me and the kids all day and then would go back to our hotel and work all night. So it was really, really difficult. And as they've gotten older, now we do one parent, one kid. So I travel to Los Angeles a lot with my younger son. It's a lot. Even though it's relatively close, it's still a 4-hour drive each way. And LA is expensive. Each 2-day trip could be like $1,000.
What would it mean to your family to not have to travel out of state anymore for these crucial services that your children need?
Wow, like to be able to stay at home as an entire family unit, I honestly don't know what it's like. We've not had that ever. When your child has 6 specialists to see, it's impossible to do that unless you have a freestanding children's hospital. To be able to drive 20 minutes to a children's hospital and see all of my children's specialists in 1 day or even 2 days, and then come home for dinner, come home for Friday night movie night, like that doesn't happen regularly for our family. It's a priority every year when we're looking at our budget and January comes around, okay, what medical stuff do we know we have coming up? That's the number one consideration. 100% it is a privilege that our family has insurance that allows us to travel out of state. Bottom line, there are so many people in our neighborhood, our friends, our professional contacts that have insurance that does not allow them to leave Nevada. So if their child or even themselves need care that isn't provided here, unless you have unlimited funds and you're just paying cash out of pocket, you're stuck, right? There are other kids and young adults living with that same condition that don't have access to these testing and this multidisciplinary care. It's been a rough couple weeks. At one of his multidisciplinary clinic visits at the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles, they ordered some pretty standard testing, which we all thought would come back as it has been over the last several years, but it didn't. So he is in early stages of heart failure, and we are working with the team there to just figure out how involved it is and what our next steps are. But because we're coming from out of state, it's not fast, right? The team has been awesome, but it has been really hard because we are essentially waiting to find out how sick he is. And is this going to be the talk, right? The transplant talk. That's always going to be like down the road for us, but we really hoped and thought he would be an adult before this talk came. So we're stressed, to say the least, at home and not sleeping very well.
In what ways would a freestanding children's hospital benefit the families in Nevada?
I think it would just honestly be life-changing for so many families, even families with healthy children, right? It's a real struggle for every single child. You don't have to have a child with complex medical needs like our family. You could have a happy-go-lucky kiddo and you're one bad fall or a car accident or a crazy diagnosis out of nowhere from really needing multidisciplinary coordinated care. Or maybe you have a kiddo that you suspect autism and the wait list for an evaluation is 2+ years. Despite the many great providers, they're just so under-resourced. They don't have what they need. They don't have the system in which they can communicate with each other, discuss a case, share notes, share records. It just doesn't exist. So who's in charge of making sure Johnny and Sally get XYZ in the next 2 weeks? It falls on the parents because there is no comprehensive system. Our son is doing homebound school now, so it's basically like an online version of school to finish out the school year because he can't get sick, right? Any cough or cold or little illness would push back a heart catheterization a couple weeks. So we have to keep him super healthy, just trying to make sure we're keeping our world small so that we don't bring anything home. And that's been hard. When they were younger, it was easier. They didn't realize that they were being cut off from the world. And now as teenagers, absolutely they are. Last night, my son came downstairs at about 8 o'clock, and he was so excited to tell me that he FaceTimed with his friend from school that he hadn't seen in 2 weeks. So I was happy for him, and I also then kind of went around the corner into the kitchen and the pantry and closed the door for a minute because it really crushed me as a mom. Like, he was excited just to talk to a friend, which used to be every day. So it's been hard.